All right, you might have seen the news. Tim Tszyu's back. A big announcement. Vegas, baby. After so many in-ring interviews going, my next fight will be in Las Vegas, and then next minute's in the Gold Coast or somewhere in Australia. We have locked it in. Sin City, baby. Tim Tszyu is coming to town, which is great news. He's finally got the one fight, well, in the one location that he definitely wants. So Vegas is happening. We are talking March 30 in the US, 31 here in Australia, depending where you are in the world. Taking on the one and only Keith Thurman. Look, this is going to be an absolute barnstormer for him. Keith Thurman stepping up to 154 has been super dominant at welterweight. Just a little bit of inactivity. That's his only question mark or say grey cloud over anything in this fight as well. But look, this is the guy that went the distance with Manny Pacquiao after getting knocked down in round one. He's beat Sean Porter. He's beat Danny Garcia. It's just been some time. Pretty much like what we saw with Tony Harrison as well. Great fighter, but just didn't have that activity to match it with the likes of Tim Tszyu, who, as we know, is at the top of his game and the most dangerous fighter in the 154 division without a doubt. If he wasn't, you would have seen that Charlo fight already. So there you go. This is it. 3 fights last year. Tony Harrison, Carlos Ocampo, Brian Mendoza. Stunning fashion out of all 3 of those fights. So if he's ever ready to headline a Vegas card, this is the one that he must take on. So let's run through some of this card because it is phenomenal. I thought it was going to be all right. I thought, oh, you might not even get a big location, just a Vegas maybe. The Palms, I don't know. But this is T-Mobile Arena, and they're not going to put one on there without some other big names on it. And there were a few whispers, even in the last few hours, it has been rumoured. But I've got some locked-in names for you. And there's one on here which was completely left field and I didn't think was going to happen or even wasn't on the radar at all, to be honest with you, but it is. And now it's official. So let's have a look at it because this is the first fight on Amazon. Amazon Prime have joined up with PBC, as we know. So if you are playing catch-up, PBC have worked together with Showtime on HBO for many, many, many years, and HBO have completely ditched boxing on the sports platform as well. So this is completely gone. So this is brand new. I didn't know Jeff Bezos was a boxing fan, but great he is. And I can't imagine they're going to do this thing in halves. So they'll put on quite a performance, as they've seen from the likes of DAZN have success from those streaming giants taking over sport. And fingers crossed that this is going to be a huge success because looking at this, it's got to be. So not only do we have Tim Tszyu and Keith Thurman, which I believe, this was the bit that's unconfirmed, but I believe Tim's going to speak in a few days, so we'll probably get that confirmation soon, is at 155 at a catch weight. So the WBO belt will not be on the line, given that I believe the WBO wouldn't sanction it. So the only way they could get this across the line was to have it at a catch weight. So they've gone that, obviously, at 155. So probably due to the layoff of Keith Thurman, to be honest with you, or unless they're just trying to really keep that together in the back end, the politics of boxing, as we know, just to not put any risk. Should something happen with boxing, we know everyone's got a fighter's puncher's chance that the Terence Crawford fight would never happen if Tim was unsuccessful over in Vegas. So the confidence is there. We know that he's going to get that win. He's been super impressive over the last 2 to 3 years now, and every fight they said he couldn't do, he's done it, and he's done it in stunning fashion. And I have, without a doubt, he's going to do that again. Maybe I am a little bit of a one-eyed Tszyu supporter, but look, the stats are there, the ability's there, and as we know, he's just completely the most dangerous fighter right now at 154. If not, keep going. I could see him going up quite easily, but right now, this is all about him taking on Vegas, the Tszyu name back in Vegas, and what a card it is. I did see the press release come out just minutes before that we started filming this one. So look, let me run you through it. Some of the whispers were, which are now confirmed. Rolando Romero. Rolly will be there taking on Isaac Pitbull Cruz as well. That one's actually for the WBA title that Rolly holds. So it's on the line. There will be a title fight in the co-main. Now, that one is going to be great. The kicker is Rolly he is a world champion, but look, he is great at selling fights. So it's awesome to have him on all of the promo run for this one as well. Hence the reason why Ryan Garcia wanted to fight him. Apart from the belt, that obviously hasn't eventuated, as you saw with Golden Boy and Ryan and Oscar De La Hoya and all the stuff that went on there. Rolly priced himself out, blah, 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 blah. So that mega fight with Ryan obviously gone to the wayside, but on a co-main with Tim Tszyu and Keith Thurman there in Vegas. So, look, he'll hopefully defend that belt, but Isaac Cruz is an absolute weapon, and I would not be surprised if you saw his hand raised at the end. But we'll get into who's winning and why on other episodes. This one's sort of more about the fight announcement. So let's keep rolling through that one because, as we said, Tim Tszyu, Keith Thurman, Rolando Romero, Isaac Pitbull Cruz in a co-main. But when we go down the list, now, if you are a US viewer and you're not quite across the name Michael Zarafa, there's probably a reason because he hasn't done a lot over in the States and he's been waiting for this opportunity for a very, very, very long time. And in Australia, it is very much, I wouldn't say Tim Tszyu versus Michael Zarafa, I would say Zarafa going at Tim Tszyu. There was a fight that was supposed to happen many years ago, which got canned at the 11th hour after everything was set. And look, Tszyu has pretty much shunned Zarafa ever since, so it's never really going to eventuate. But if there's ever a fight that Zarafa's going to be on, it's the undercard for Tim Tszyu in Vegas. And not just any fight, he's been waiting ages for a world title shot, and he's finally got that for the WBA middleweight title, taking on Erislandy Lara, who is the current champ. There's been some stuff in the past where he was supposed to fight Falcao. There was Triple G on the horizon, but it just didn't make sense, Triple G. So, look, he's took step-aside money last year. He's been inactive himself, but still, he's very much the number one WBA contender and has that shot locked in for a world title in Vegas on the undercard of Tim Tszyu. So that is going to be a massive one as well. It's a tough one, let's be honest. That is a huge fight for Michael Zarafa, and if he can get that done, that is massive. And as an Aussie, we're absolutely behind him on that one, but let's be honest, that is one hell of a task, but we've seen stranger things happen, and fingers crossed, we want him to win, obviously. So let's see if we can get that one over the line. The one that did shock me on the undercard for this, we do know it's Amazon, so they've probably got a bit of cash to spend, but they've chucked on Sebastian Fundora. He's on the card. I thought that the press release was all but done, and then I actually thought it might have been another announcement for something else, but no, very much. The Towering Inferno is locked on the Tim Tszyu undercard as well. He's back after suffering his defeat to Brian Mendoza and losing that WBC belt at 154, but he is there taking on Serhiy Boachuk. So some big names, a huge night of fights, and I believe Tim's only a few days away from facing the media as well, so I'm sure there's going to be a whole lot more information coming out about this one in probably the next 72 to 48 hours. Somewhere in there, we're going to get a lot more dropping, but that is the card at the moment. It's massive. I could only imagine that you're going to get an announcement on Nikita Tszyu, Tim's younger brother. I would imagine he's probably going to open the show there, whether that's on pay-per-view or not. But I could imagine that he will be there. He was always on the plans because there was that original one where Tim Tszyu was going to be taking on Erickson Lubin. So that was supposed to be locked away, and then that all got canned and Lubin was out, so he had to find a new opponent. We saw Tim tweet, big names only. The Terence Crawford thing was floating around. Obviously, that's a much bigger job to get done. So in the meantime, as we know, Tim loves to stay busy. He's locked in Keith Thurman, and he's going to headline a Vegas card, which is huge news and great for him and great for the sport of boxing here in Australia and around the world. So depending where you're watching this, I believe you're going to be a huge Tim Tszyu fan because I know a lot of the US are really, really familiar with George Kambosos and his work. And look, we're going to see that when he takes on Lomachenko coming up in May as well here in Australia. That mega fight's going to be massive. But Tim will really cement his name into the US market now. I believe with all the Charlo stuff, he's done that. But this is welcome to America. This is his moment, and we can't wait to see it. So I'm going to keep you updated with all the info, all the action between the Tim Tszyu Thurman fight. There's plenty going on, and as we know, only a couple of days away, he'll face the media, and from then on, it's camp into fight week, which is 2 months away. March 30, 31 here in Australia. So lock it on. Subscribe, like. If you subscribe to this, that'd be a huge thing for me, but do that and I'll give you all the info as it goes, and there's a lot happening, so I'll keep you updated. So like, subscribe, share it, and I'll talk to you soon.